Welcome to DFS and Dynasty. It is Sunday morning, September 16th, and we have a full day of football. I don't know what it is, but I do know what it is. It's football season. Whenever I wake up right now this week, I am just smiling. So excited for the possibility. We're going to be making some money this week, and we got two studs with me. First off, we got Austin. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? What is up?
Oh, it's such a great day. And always the Spaccaratelli. Steve, how we doing?
It's good, man. It's Sunday. There's football. I woke up and immediately went from 6 to noon.
Lots of good stuff going
Life is
on.
good.
It's just, I got like the chills, man. It's like one of those things where you wake up, you don't even need coffee because like life is great today. So weather reports real quick. Do want to give a shout out to all the people in the Carolinas, just the hurricane and everything that's going on. Thoughts and everything with you guys. Hopefully you're staying safe out there. But Austin, can you take us through the league? Are there any DFS games that are going to be affected by weather this week?
Hey, from what I saw this morning, John, nothing significant. There's the most wind was going to be during the Houston Texas game. And other than that, there was like a 4% chance of rain. So there's nothing significant going on when it comes to weather this week, surprisingly, especially after that hurricane.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, Dale and Armando and a few other people were sending some screenshots of the weather on our writers chat. And it looks like it's, you know, in certain parts, the rain is cleared away. However, the water is still there in a lot of places. But as far as football goes, I don't think it's going to affect any NFL games this week. Now, I do want to say some injury news updates, all these different things. But if you want our lineups to make money, and we made some money last week, let me tell you, head over to eatsleepfantasy.com. Just click on the subscribe button, go down to the membership for DFS. Usually it's $5 a week for lineups, but we are doing something special for you guys that are turning in. So once you click subscribe and you enter in your information to start an account, under promo code, type in week 2, all caps, no spaces, WEEK, the number 2 with no spaces, and you get this week for free. So we've got some great stuff on there. We've got 50-50 lineups, 1-versus-1s, multipliers, tournaments, pick'ems, and for all sites as well, FanDuel and DraftKings. So there's so much information that is out there. So please head over there. Again, just eatsleepfantasy.com and type in the promo code week2 for this week for free. This is the last one we're going to be doing for you guys for free. But, man, the people that signed up last week made some money, and we're going to be making some money this week. So, without further ado, let's jump into injury and news updates. And this came down late last night. Josh Gordon. Steve, what the hell, man? What happened?
Well, supposedly he tweaked his hammy doing a photo shoot. So, I mean, seems pretty crazy, huh? No, I don't know, but he has been released. So Josh Gordon is no longer with the Cleveland Browns, and according to Ian Rappaport, just in recent minutes here, he's interested in joining the 49ers or Cowboys. So we'll see if either one of those guys take a shot at him. I could see the Cowboys. I don't know if the 49ers would.
I doubt the 49ers will. But maybe possibly. My favorite part of that whole story is the guy, one of the guys that were tweeting out what happened, which again, shady. You shouldn't do that. You should be helping out your guy. Said that Josh Gordon was trying to outrun the drone that was filming him working out, and he popped his hamstring.
Which, it's one of those things that you're just like, what? And you're laughing at the same time. You don't even know how to react because of the situation. I don't know. That's crazy to me.
So, Austin, who does this help? Does this help Jarvis Landry, or is his role kind of cemented already?
I think Landry gets a few more targets. I'm not, like I said, I'm just not a big Landry, so I'll punt this over to you guys. But for DFS this week, man, Callaway, you can't go wrong grabbing Callaway this week for DFS lineups, so we can start making some big, easy, very safe stacks. So,
yeah, and that's the thing. If you look at the over or under on Cleveland at New Orleans, it's right at about 50 points. So they're thinking this is going to turn into a shootout. and yeah, you could definitely do worse than Callaway. Now he's going for $3,000 on DraftKings. So yeah, I mean, you just got to look at it and say, for tournament plays, I absolutely love that because that can get you some of the chalky guys that you can add into your lineup. But just something to think about. I think this could actually benefit Duke Johnson and Njoku as well. Goodness, I mean, there's just so much to happen there. But again, I agree with you, Landry. You wrote this down in your notes there, Austin. 15 targets with 7 receptions in week 1. I doubt he's going to get more than 15 targets. That's just incredible. But yeah, so look out for that one.
I don't think that changes much for Landry. I mean, Njoku, we'll see what they do with him here because he did drop 2 very catchable balls last week too. So they'll probably give him another shot here. But even those guys with what they saw having Gordon in the lineup last week, even though it was in a limited role, I don't really think you're going to see much of a change with Gordon gone.
Right. Very, very good. Also, Freeman seems to be going to be out for a few weeks with his knee injury. Steve, what do you think, man?
Tevin Coleman, you have to plug him in. And actually, when the Gordon news broke, it was actually a nice, easy swap for me because I already had Coleman in some lineups and I had Gordon put in the flex play, just rolling the dice, and with the fact that he was playing a secondary that didn't show up last week. So actually, Gordon was more than Coleman, so I was able to put him in. And then if I felt like tweaking another spot, I was able to. So there's a couple guys that if you had Gordon in a flex spot, you could look at. And 2 guys that I looked at mostly were Coleman and then even Austin Eckler, because with the chance that if San Diego can get away from Baltimore, or I'm sorry, not Baltimore, Buffalo, Eckler could see some second half volume.
Yeah, right now Tevin Coleman's price on FanDuel is just $5,900, so cheap. But now, Austin, my question for you is: Carolina gives up basically nothing in the run game. They completely dominated Zeke last week, just running. So, would you still start Coleman this week, even though it's a tough matchup?
I still like Coleman. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's Connor might be a better option for close to the same price, but Coleman is what I call he's a pass catching back. So for PPR, he's perfect for this situation. So I think he's outside the norm of a normal Zeke running back is, I guess, how I would compare it.
Right. Okay. Very good.
So real quick, John, staying with that game though, against Carolina, Greg Olsen. This just came up a few minutes ago. They're hoping he's going to return in 4 to 5 weeks. So this could be an uptick for weeks to come for guys like McCaffrey and even Funchess.
Yeah. So basically, you got a month of extra volume, as if McCaffrey needed more volume to be valuable. I love McCaffrey this week. But yeah, something to keep an eye on. Austin, staying with you, seems like Fournette is probably going to be out with his hamstring. Man, again, we just talked about the Browns and unhealthy situations. There's rumors out that Fournette had a pop in his hamstring whenever the injury happened, and he told the reporters about it before he told his training staff or coach, and there seems to be some animosity brewing down there in Jacksonville. So what does this mean for you? Are you looking to play anybody else as a value play like TJ Yeldon or Corey Grant, or are you just staying away from this one?
It's a hard one because they're going against my boys, I think I'm going to punt this game. I'm just going to revert back. There's just better options out there. And we know Belichick's going to take out at least one of the number one options. But with Jacksonville not having, their running back and they don't have a main wide receiver. So who do we take out then? Who does the Patriots take out in this situation and make it interesting? And now for pick'ems, I'm actually leaning that Patriots could actually pull this one off because, for my pick'ems, I have Jacksonville winning by a field goal. But shoot, with this situation now, this could change everything.
Yeah, and if you are picking straight up again, this is the late Sunday game. As of right now, Jacksonville gets 1 point, and they are at home if you're playing the spread. So it's a pretty close game. Obviously, the rematch of the AFC Championship. I think the Patriots are going to blow them out at home. Blake Bortles Yikes.
Yeah. I think Bortles will be fine in this situation, though. He would be someone I would target if I'm trying to make one of those super stacks like we talked about. Bortles is I think want to say the cheapest QB I would lean to. So
Okay, let's keep going. Let's go to you. Let's stay with your boys then. The New England backfield is peppered with question marks. Man, we've got Sony Michel's a maybe, Burkhead's a maybe, but White is a go. What are you doing here, Austin? This is all you, man. Walk us through your backfield.
I think, like I said, if you're looking for value at a running back, I mean White and Michelle are both viable options, but I wouldn't use them for cash games. Please do not use them for cash games. It makes no sense in the world. They are not safe. You're for tournaments or GPPs, these guys are perfect. They're going to give you that extra home run hit if they hit, and because they're value. I mean, you think about it, and they're not going to be used that much because everyone's so scared of Jacksonville's defense. So these guys might be perfect for GPP plays if you got a few extra bucks to throw out there.
Okay, very good. And the thing that I really, really like is that, man, Austin said, hey, you can play these guys, but you have to figure out how to play them. You have to be savvy enough to understand if there is risk involved, get them out of your 50-50s, get them out of your cash games or one versus one games, whatever, get them out. Those are strictly tournament plays, and you don't play them in lots of lineups. One of the mistakes that I think a lot of people make with your tournament lineups is you'll love one player and you'll put him in all of your tournament lineups. That's the easiest way to ensure you're going to have a rough week several times throughout the year. You want to diversify, especially those kind of home run plays, just because, again, this makes it easier for just in case something bad happens, it doesn't ruin your entire week. So something just to keep in mind there. Let's head over to Steve. Marquise Goodwin is out. They announced him out early, and Pettis is getting all starter snaps. Man, I love me some Pettis this week. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, he's definitely in a few of my lineups. I have him going, Kittle going, anybody against that Detroit defense. And the fact that Pierre Garçon is there, they have to respect him. And I think that's the attention of Darius Slay, where his attention is going to be all day long. And I think that's going to open up some things because there's nobody else in that secondary unless they decide to bring Glover Quinn up and put him on Pettis. But they're going to need him over the middle too. So I think that's going to open up a lot of opportunities. I think he did enough to where Garoppolo can trust to look his way. So he could be a very sneaky, cheap play this week for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Not only is he super cheap, but he could have scored 2 touchdowns last week with ease. So, man, understand this. 49ers throw more than anybody, and they're playing Detroit. That is going to be a shootout, man. I could see both sides throwing the ball 40-plus times. So,
awesome.
I love Pettis this week. Probably more than I should, but that's okay. It's what it is. Let's see here, Steve. Let's stay with you. Deshaun Jackson seems like he is going to be able to play. It seemed like he was going to be out all week. Does this affect what you want to play with who you want to play in the Bucks? I'm a big Godwin guy, Chris Godwin. What do you think?
I only had Godwin in a couple lineups as a flex spot. I saw that news, and I kind of faded him. I actually took him out of some lineups just because it's hard to say what's going to happen in that game. I think they have a worse matchup. As far as the defense that they're facing than they did last week, probably going to be throwing the ball a lot, but also, again, hard to say with what we saw with Philadelphia last week in Foles, if they'll be able to get the offense going. That's just a game that I'm kind of staying away from in general. Without Jackson there, Godwin might have been worth playing just because there's less target share, but now that target share is increased, and they're just saying actually today too, talking about the Buccaneers that Jameis Winston is not a lock to start in week 4
because they're smart. Smart.
Yeah. So, if you didn't get Fitzpatrick off of waivers this week, you might want to do so. And then just monitor those matchups going forward and see how things develop towards week 4, because he could be a guy that you'll want to play from week to week.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing with Fitzmagic. I mean, he's got a better win-loss record with the Bucks than Jameis Winston has with the Bucks since they've been there. But back to Chris Godwin, he outsnapped Deshaun Jackson 46-20. Deshaun Jackson just had those few key plays, but make no mistakes, Chris Godwin is the starter in that offense. He is the guy that is going to get the most work, and I do think I have him in a few lineups this week, and I'm keeping him in. This is a slight downtick, but still keeping him in. Austin, let's go to you. The Titans game. Oh, man, this one's already looking super ugly. Titans versus the Texans. Both starting tackles are out for the Tennessee Titans. Conklin and Luan are gone. Man, Mariota's a mess too. What do you think here?
I still like Lewis in this situation. I might have a lineup or two with Lewis only because the Texans are hurting on defense as well. We just saw Clowney back issues. There was stuff earlier this week about JJ Watt, sorry, not his brother. But yeah, I might still try Lewis, but as far as like wide receiver core, QBs, I might Watson. Watson is a good pick for this week. I think he's number 2 or 3 as far as when it comes to QBs that are going to score the most points. So,
and not only that, but I love playing like Watson was such a big play last week. Everybody had him in their lineups, whatever else, because of what he did against New England the previous year. And now everybody is scared and their butt hurt. That I love. It's the whole buy low, sell high mindset. So Watson is a great play this week. He is 7,400 on FanDuel. And again, man, you could definitely do better. Now, one sneaky play that I kind of like, and I think you guys might disagree with me here for tournaments only, and again, I might put him in one, is Corey Davis. I think that Corey Davis is going to get a ridiculous amount of targets. Now, the problem is if Mariota doesn't go, get him out because Blaine Gabbert is hot trash. I think I'm better than he is. But if Mariota can play, I do think the Texans are going to run away with this game big time.
I wish they would come out and say Fuller wasn't playing again.
Yeah, it's looking like he's going to play. So
they did say that Mariota is going to try and play. So whether he
he's
plays
still having a hard time gripping the ball.
Right, exactly. And my thing is there, regardless of the situation, whether it's Mariota or whether it's Gabbert, I think as long as they can keep the score close, they're going to try and run the ball a lot. And I think both running backs are going to see volume, probably more than likely favoring Lewis. I actually have Lewis in a couple of my DraftKings lineups. But yeah, I don't know. I think that game, as long as the score is close, it's going to stay to the ground on the Tennessee side of the ball.
Very good, very good. Jermaine Gresham. Oh, Steve, this is a small play, but I kind of like it. Jermaine Gresham, his Achilles, he is questionable. If he is out, man, I think Ricky Seals-Jones could be a play. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. If you're trying to punt on the tight end position, you want to put him in. If you look at what happened last week, I mean, again, there's nobody there outside of Fitzgerald and David Johnson doing anything. And those guys even had quiet weeks last week for the most part. So RSJ saw a good amount of targets, and I think that'll continue to trend upwards. And even if Gresham comes back, he's a guy that, I mean, they could run 2 tight end sets, kind of flank him out a little bit. I mean, he's a converted wide receiver, so why not?
Yeah, well said. 5,200 on FanDuel right now. Austin?
Yeah, on that note, Jared Cook destroyed freaking the Rams.
Yeah,
their middle. So RSJ is a great if you got a punt for tight end.
Yeah, I think RSJ and Fitzgerald both have great games this week just because, again, those outside corners are unreal for the Rams, but that interior of that defense is pretty soft, especially whenever it comes to coverage. So I think that, Larry Fitzgerald out of the slot, I have him in a couple 50-50 lineups, and Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end, I think both are plays. That's going to be a fun game, closer than I think most people think, but I do think the Rams will win it at home. However, I do think it's going to be a little closer than people think. Now, I wanted to throw this in there and get you guys' thoughts. Austin, I know you used to live up in this part. Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. Now, this is the Monday Night Football game, but again, I love playing the Monday Night Football slate, just the individual games. I don't know why. I love it. But with both those guys out, dude, am I crazy in thinking that Jordan Howard is going to be unreal this week against the Seattle defense?
I would try him. Actually, I'd play both him and Cohen because there's nothing there in the middle to stop them. So I think that, like I said, if Chicago doesn't like just crush them whatever the word I'm trying to say. Mercilessly. There you go. It would, I will punt Chicago from here on out because they should just destroy Seattle. Sorry, David.
It's what it is.
I like the play. I mean, Howard did well against Green Bay last week too, and we've talked about that Seattle defense a lot. They're not the same when you take Wagner and KJ Wright out of the middle. Yeah, I would definitely play them both too. I think Jordan Howard's a legitimate start for the most part every single week. He's going to have his tough matchups against Minnesota twice this year. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like, but what he did against Green Bay last week on the road, they're playing a Seattle defense that's worse off. So I actually have him in a few of my lineups too.
All right. I love it. And the thing is that Seattle defense is not what it used to be. You can target them instead of stay away from them nowadays.
Yep.
So real quick, let's jump in. I wanted to include this part just because these are your last minute adjustments. If for some reason there's a last minute somebody's out, these are one player at each position that I am throwing in a worst case scenario. So I'll go through this really quick. I'll give you each player's FanDuel price and DraftKings price. Quarterback position, I am highlighting Case Keenum. He is 6,700 on FanDuel and 5,800 on DraftKings. I absolutely love that matchup. I mean, goodness, the Oakland's bad. They're just so bad. Running back Tevin Coleman, we've talked about him, 5,900 FanDuel, 5,300 on DraftKings. He will get the receptions to make his value. He will earn you back money on there. Dante Pettis, wide receiver. Goodness, I cannot believe how cheap he is. 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,000 on DraftKings. In tight end position, Ben Watson.
Yeah, I have him in a few lineups too.
The snaps and target share are there, and they're playing against Cleveland, who is trash against the tight end. He is 5,100 in FanDuel and 3,400.
I like Ben Watson this week.
Ooh.
Love him this week.
So those are just players to keep in mind. If you, for some reason, somebody in one of your lineups you already submitted is out, swap those guys in. Maybe upgrade your defense or something like that as well, because you will be saving money. Now, let's move to the most represented players on your rosters. Austin, we'll start with you. Who are the guys, as you look over most of your lineups, who do you have most represented?
I'm playing it safe this week. I have Gurley, Kamara, and Brown.
Gurley, Kamara, and Brett. Dang, he's and that's the thing. One of the way that Austin structures his lineups, which I love what he does here, he finds 2 to 3 key value plays that are super cheap but high volume plays, and because he plays them in multiple lineups, he can get all of these stud top tier guys in there. And again, he crushed it last week. So this gentleman knows what he is talking about. Not only is he handsome, but he gives sound DFS advice. Yeah. You sexy man, Austin. All right, Steve, let's go to you. Who is most represented in your lineups?
I have a lot of Ben AB stacks. Those guys at home against that terrible Kansas City secondary. I'm expecting big days from them. I know Ben's elbow's bothering him, but I think he'll be fine. I think those two are going to have a big day.
Yep.
Love Tevin Coleman. Even though Zeke struggled a little bit in Carolina last week, he still put some yard. He put a little bit of yardage up, got it going in the second half, and caught a few balls too, which is where Coleman is most effective. And they're in Atlanta, so I like him in that situation. And call me crazy, but I love Matt Breida against Detroit. I could expect to see him get some goal line touches, considering the fact that Morris put two on the ground in consecutive carries and lost the second one last week.
Dude, I'm telling you what, man, you know what you're talking about. I was going to say that exact same thing. Breida, I like Breida this week, and he's cheap as always. Love that matchup going against Detroit. That defense looks like the worst it may be in the NFL. The two players, I have a lot of what you guys said as well. But Christian McCaffrey, oh my gosh, I love Christian McCaffrey this week. I just think that it's going to be unreal what he can do. And a lot of it has to just do with the injuries. The Falcons lost the most athletic middle linebacker in the entire NFL, in Deion Jones, and the most athletic strong safety in the NFL, Keanu Neal. And they have replacements in there that have not a lot of playing time, and their job is going to be following Christian McCaffrey around the field. I just think that this is just a matchup nightmare for those guys. I could see him having 10 catches. And Dante Pettis, who I will talk about in my sleep, my wife tells me. Apparently, I like Pettis a little bit too much, but that's okay.
You like Pettis' penis.
I do. I do. It's probably magnificent. So let's go to Austin. This is time where we can just kind of plug one of Austin's main lineups. So let's go through. Austin, what you got for us?
Well, this isn't a main lineup because my main lineup is awesome, but I'm not giving that one out for free. This one is just for fun. This is just, this is a GPP. It's with the late games and Monday included. I really, like I've talked about all week, I want to see what Barkley and Elliott does going back and forth. So on FanDuel, I put together Trubisky, Connor, Elliott, Cobb, Anua, Antonio Brown, Njoku, Saquon Barkley, and the Bills. I'm sorry, that's for DraftKings. I'll say it again. Trubisky, Connor, Elliott, Cobb, Anua, Antonio Brown, Njoku, Barkley, and Bills. And, dude, that lineup right there is going to crush. And then on FanDuel, Trubisky, Elliott, Howard. There's your boy Howard. Thomas and Sanders, because they're just going to destroy freaking Oakland. Beckham, the guy I hate the most, I put him in there though. ASJ, Barkley, and Chicago's defense. Now, if that's not a winning lineup, I don't know what you're going to do this week.
So you believe in OBJ's ankle enough now?
I don't. But
Jeez.
It's hard not to. It is hard. With that secondary, man, it is hard not to look at OBJ this week.
You even said yourself you believe in Andrew Luck's shoulder. You can't believe in OBJ's ankle by now?
Not yet.
That's hilarious. This is awesome. So, guys, we just want to say thank you for hanging out with us this Sunday morning. Again, head over to our website, Eat Sleep Fantasy. Click on the giant badge that says $5 DFS lineups. Go down, register, and enter in week 2 for a free week of lineups. Again, that's all capitals WEEK 2. The number 2, no spaces, and get that for free. Let's make some money together. We play every single lineup that is registered on that site. And again, hopefully you guys pay attention to the news and notes and actives and all those things. But thank you for joining us. And Austin, where can they find you on Twitter, bud?
Austin, AUSTN 37.
Like it. Steve, where you at?
At SPAC21, SSPAC21.
I like it. And you can find me at your mom's house. All right, that's going to do it for us.
Wow.
Ooh, take care, guys.
Out there.
Stopped recording. Bum, ba, da, bum, bum, bum.